I'm sorry, you guys. If you guys will be patient with me for just a second. I am attempting to go live on Instagram. Y'all pray for me. Oh, well, maybe next time. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I guess I need my mic too. See, I tried to do too much this morning, y'all. So, you guys, I want us to have a jump start on our creative energy for 2026 and give us permission just to stop and to slow down and to just create. And so, I am going to work really hard to show up almost every day in order to bring you guys a live video with a quick project that we can do in like 20 to 30 minutes, start to finish. And so for today's project, we're going to be doing a simple can. I forget the size of this can. You guys know I was a director of the nonprofit that served Meals on Wheels here in my county, and I'm able to get these cans from our kitchen. And I think it's a number 10. I think it's a number 10. I used to know that, but it's been a while. I digress. But today I am going to be decoupaging this can. I had a question on my live from yesterday, and I wanted to answer that question. I think I uploaded it here. Yes. And so she asked if you don't want 100% coverage. Oh, you can't see the rest. So yesterday I layered 2 sheets of decoupage paper on top of each other in order for us to kind of explore the transparency of recycled decoupage paper, which is one of my favorite qualities of the paper. And her question was, if you didn't want to cover 100% of the surface, would the edge show? And so the short answer is yes. But it doesn't mean that it disqualifies the opportunity for you to do that. And so we're going to play with that idea today. So I have a simple can here, which will be decoupaging today. I have a sanding block that I'll be using for several reasons today. I'm going to be using the Roycycled spring, I think it's spring block decoupage paper for today. These are spring papers from last year. You guys, your retailers should have this paper. Um, I know a lot of my makers, you guys are already making for spring, so I'll be using a lot of spring papers in my videos coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be using some milk paint. I've been wanting to put milk paint on metal for a while, so I'm just going to take advantage of the opportunity and do that today. And I may be using some heavy body gel. I haven't decided yet. And then I'm going to be using some dark wax as well. So let's get started. The first thing I did to this can is I sanded it. I did leave a little section unsanded so you guys can see. And hopefully you can see. You can see how this is really, really shiny right here, right? So sanding it just adds a little tooth to it. And rather than going just side to side, I like to do circles. Like in my holy imaginations, the different directions are going to do a better job of holding on to the paint than just straight lines. And so now you guys can see how it's not as shiny anymore, right? Because I've sanded it. So I've already sanded my entire can. I don't know if I got in these crevices, no, I'm just kidding, the crevices really well. So we might have some chipping, but I think it's okay because that's why we love milk paint, right? It's because of the chipping. So let's start with our can. And I'm gonna look, this is a lid to my coffee that I drink. Um, I drink a lot of coffee, y'all. It is what it is. And I have some lids because I use the glass jars for my oil paint solvent. And I have a couple of jars that I leave open so that I can save all of the pigment from my paints. So I had a few extra lids, and so I'm going to use them to make some milk paint today. Now you're supposed to put equal parts milk paint and water, and I'm using heaping teaspoons, so I'm going to put like 2 teaspoons of water for every teaspoon of powder that I put in here. The thing about these quick projects, you guys, is I will not be answering comments right now, but I will go back and answer them. Y'all know I get distracted, so I'm trying to stay focused so we can get through the project start to finish. But I will go back and answer any questions that I find in the comments. If you guys love like chatting, be sure and join David and I on Sunday nights. We're live every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will be live. I will be live again tonight where we'll be chatting and crafting. I think we're going to explore underpainting tonight during our video. Yesterday, and if you guys missed yesterday's video, you can find it on YouTube. I've already uploaded it. We painted over our decoupage paper after we decoupaged it, and it made me think of the underpainting that I've been doing in my art class that I'm taking. So we can take those things and we can apply them to what we do. And so tonight we'll be talking about how underpainting your paintable decoupage paper can really add a lot of, it can make your project a lot more dynamic. And you can't see the underpainting, but it really does add something beautiful to your piece. And it looks different than if you just paint the paper by itself. So we will review that, or we'll go over that, and we'll talk about different colors and how they impact what you do on top. And my favorite type of underpainting is actually multiple colors. Okay, so I think I've mixed that pretty well. I don't know. I'm not a expert at milk paint, you guys, so we're going to see what happens. This is Sonnet's fault. She did, and she actually painted a container of blue with blue milk paint. And I've been kind of obsessing about that for a while. So now I get to play. I did want to make sure that my paint was completely mixed before I get started. I don't know if it's supposed to be this thin, but we are going to go with it. And I think you're supposed to let it set for like a few minutes before you start, but we do not have time for that. And I wanted us to do it together. So I'm just using my brush to kind of smash that powder down and break it up under the bottom. And somebody asked me where to find these brushes. I'm going to go in the video from yesterday and I'll put a link in there. I just didn't have a chance to do it this morning. Okay, so and I don't know what's going to happen, y'all. I think part of creating, there has to be experimentation. If you only do the things where you know what the outcome is going to be, then you never get to experience anything new, right? And even if you fail, well, not fail, let's not use that word. Even if things do not turn out the way that you think they should, sometimes you're surprised with the result and it can be something brand new that you can repeat over and over and it becomes part of your process. Or you can learn from it and then you do it again, making small tweaks so that you do get the outcome that you desire. So either way, there's no failure, right? There's just experience. And so I am just going to Now this is pretty thin. I'm thinking I'm going to want to do 2 coats. The cool thing about the milk paint is that it does self-level beautifully. And because it is thin, you do get like a beautiful smooth surface. If you want, you can put a binder in it and you can get that really smooth. I'm really hoping that this milk paint will crack some. So I'm going to hit it with the dryer before I go over with a second coat. The thing about putting layers of paint, whether it's paint or a sealer, you want to dry the first layer, because if you go right over this with more, you're just going to be moving around the same product. So you're really not adding additional layers. So if your intent, is to add another layer of any product, you want to dry the first layer first before you put on the second. I'm going to do like a high level dry, the areas that are really wet kind of drying on this. And then we'll set this aside because we still need to prep our decoupage paper, and we can do that while this dries. I talk to you guys a lot about experimenting, right? And we talk about how experimenting leads to creativity, and it's absolutely true. And I have to tell you guys, I have been taking classical art classes. I started about 2 years ago taking some fundamental classes, but about, I want to say either December or January of either December of 2024 or January 25, I can't remember exactly. I took a deep dive and I decided to invest in myself and to start a program so that I could grow in my art and classical art and learn things that honestly I want to bring back to you guys. And what I'm learning more than anything, you guys, is that art is absolutely teachable. Like it's not some magic thing that's only available to, a select number of people. It's just a matter of us learning the skills. And when I say learning the skills, we have this idea that it's like this magical thing that's only available to a certain amount of people, or that the skill is just going to be too hard for us to learn. But you guys think about the time and energy that you've put into learning how to decoupage, how to use milk paint versus chalk paint, how to make jewelry. I know a lot of the ladies have been doing soldering in the last couple of years. Well, you had to learn specific skills to be able to do those things. And I got to tell you guys a secret: art isn't any different. Scout's honor, I promise. And so, if you are someone who is longing to learn how to create classical art, but you've excluded yourself, because no one's excluded you, you've done it to yourself. I want you to know that you can learn. You can absolutely learn, and a lot of the things that we do in crafting are the same things that are done in the art world in order to create art. So, I just want to encourage you guys, if that's a goal that you've set for yourself for 2026. I want you to know that it is absolutely attainable. Absolutely attainable. And if you're curious about the program that I'm in, you guys can message me and I would be happy to share. So I'm going to put a second layer of the milk paint on here because I want full coverage. And, it's funny, I looked at that package and I thought it was going to be a lighter green, but this is seriously a pickle green can. I almost wonder if I should change which piece of decoupage paper I was going to use. And I am getting some chippiness, which is nice. So I'm going to put a second coat on here, and then I'm going to set this aside so that we can prep our decoupage paper. If you guys have been looking for Roycycled decoupage paper, you can find it at www.roycycled.com. And you can buy direct on the website, or take a look at the map and see if you have a retailer who is near you that you can buy from. There's nothing like walking into a shop, right? And being able to look at the paper and feel it for yourself, especially if you've never used recycled decoupage paper before. But you can find a retailer near you, or you can find maybe there's someone closer to you who's selling online who can offer you better shipping. So I think I've gone around here. I'm trying to go through and pick up some of the paint because I don't want it to be super wet. I need it to dry so we can finish our project. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside and let it dry. I mixed way too much paint. I have to find something else to paint today. I'm gonna sit that down there and we'll get this out of the way. Let's do a quick cleanup so we don't end up with pickled grain on our paper. Oh, Lord. And it is already 12:18. The time goes by so fast. Um, I have the recycled spring blocks decoupage paper here, and I was going to use this piece right here because I was looking at this green in the bag, and it's a lot softer. But now that I see how deep it is, I don't think that will go on there. So let's look at another section. I think that this bunny would be cute on there. This green, it doesn't exactly match it, but or maybe this one. But how would I cut that? Hmm. This green matches better, but I don't know. That's not going to do what I want to do. So we're going to go ahead and use the bunny here. And I'm going to fussy cut around these leaves. But I'm not going to try to be perfect because I'm going to overlap my paint over my medallion anyways. So it's really not going to matter. Now today we're going to be decoupaging over a surface that already has paint on it. And I don't want my image to disappear because what happens is because of the parent is relatively transparent, if I were to go right over the top of that darker color, the darker color is going to show through and it's just going to muddy my image up a little bit. And I don't want that. I want this to really pop off of the can. And so we are going to address that so that I don't have to worry about that happening. Now, I am going to try to blend this in visually. So I'm going to take some of my water here and I'm going to remove some of this paper in a way that's going to leave like an organic edge. And doing this with the brush just gives me more control. So I'm just going to tear it out. So I'm not worried about making a perfect line. To me, when you have really complicated edges like this, the idea of going around with the line and being perfect makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit. I have to be honest. So this is kind of a way for you to still create that organic edge in a way that's, I don't know, that that's approachable. Like to me, this isn't super tedious. And if you're like me, you don't have patience to be doing like really tedious stuff. So this is my cheater move. And you guys, if you are curious, um, we know decoupage is gluing paper to surfaces, absolutely. But there's so much more that you can do with decoupage, and there are so many little tips and tricks that can help you do more than you probably think you are capable of doing with the product, and to help you be successful in creating the things that you see in your mind. Sometimes we see something in our mind and we want to create it, but we don't have a system or a process to be able to accomplish that. So if you're looking for an opportunity to learn more about decoupage in like a really organized way, check out recycledacademy.com. I teach a masterclass there, and I go over so many tips and tricks, um, and different ways that you can use your decoupage paper to create different types of finishes. And in this particular masterclass, I spent a lot of time talking about blending your paper into your background when your paper isn't large enough. And I did a really high level lesson on color theory so you guys could learn how to mix your own colors, because honestly, I feel like that's like 85% of the challenge of matching your background. And most designs have textured backgrounds or like muddled backgrounds, or not just one color. So even beyond just mixing your own colors, we talk about, we really discover ways to create different kinds of texture in order to be able to blend your papers to your backgrounds successfully. So if you guys are interested in learning more about, and that's just one thing, honestly, I go over a lot. I feel like every time I do a decoupage course, I teach something completely new. So like the first section is all the things that we've learned in the past about how to decoupage, like basic ways to get a wrinkle-free decoupage. But the rest of the course is talking about new approaches and new techniques for you to use in your decoupage. And of course, if you are a Roycycled retailer, you should see that course on your dashboard, because you guys have access to all decoupage courses for free. So in order for me to decoupage over color, I'm going to have to treat this paper. And there's two ways I can do this. I can turn it over and just paint the back and dry it, or I can use the misting method with some plastic. I think I'm just going to paint this because we have to wait for our can to dry anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just using some basic white acrylic paint. Of course, you can use whatever paint that you have on your desk, right? Whether it's chalk style paint, a clay-based paint, or acrylic paint. And I am going to paint the back of this. And I'm using a fairly thin coat of paint. I'm not putting a really heavy coat of paint on here. My paint's a little thick, so I'm going to thin it out a little bit with some water. And what I'm doing is I'm going almost to the edge. When I put this down, I don't want to, I never want to get paint on the of my paper. And I feel like if I go almost to the edge, not all the way to the edge, that's going to actually help me blend my edges in when I get ready to do that. I'm going to be overtime today, you guys. It's already 12:25. I am so fired. David was like, don't do complicated projects, babe. Just do simple decoupage projects. But did I listen? No, I did not listen. So we might go a little over today. I apologize. But not too much. And I do want to finish this project. I chose this brush because it's rounded and I know that my edges are gonna replicate that. Whoops. Okay. So the back of that's painted and I am going to I do want to make sure I have full coverage. I don't want that green peeking through my bunny. He needs to be the star. Okay, so I am going to dry this really quickly. And now what I've done is I've made my image opaque so that when I decoupage it to my project, I don't have to worry about that dark green peeking through. And so this is an option that you can do with your decoupage paper. And I do still love the transparency of the paper. I guess I like having the option, right? Because I can either use it transparent like we did yesterday, where I really took advantage of the transparent nature and I layer things so that you can see what's under the paper. Or in this case, we are actually getting rid of the transparency by painting over it. But at the end of the day, I have options in my creative process, and that's what I love. Okay, so he's all ready to go. I'm going to set that aside, and let's see how far our bucket is in. I have a feeling I'm going to have to dry it a bit. Oops, I may have gotten a little carried away there. I have some running at the bottom. Not much though. So let's dry this. I should have had another can painted already. That would have been smart, right? I love like a distressed finish, but seeing running, like I love running paint like on my paintings, but not on my projects. So I just don't like the way that looks because it never looks like it was done on purpose. Unless I'm doing it on purpose. Like if I'm making like a drippy patina, then I like to have drips, but not just because. And we are going to go over because I have to finish this project. If you guys are enjoying these quick crafts with Royce, please let me know. I would love to hear in the comments if you guys like the quick videos. And each of these videos will be uploaded to my YouTube channel. You guys know that Facebook deletes videos after 30 days, I think it is. So if you guys are thinking about this project and you're wanting to go back, maybe I answered a question for you, then you can find it on my YouTube channel. It's in the live section, but I'm also re-uploading them as regular videos, so they're there as well. And if you're just popping on, we are taking a simple can, and I am creating something to store my brushes. I'm a bit of a brush hoarder, you guys. Seriously, I have so many paintbrushes. It's kind of ridiculous. I like storing them like this because they're readily available, and I store them with brushes up so I can see right away what I need, right? Without having to like dig through a drawer or something. And you guys know I'm a visual organizer, so I like to see all my things. So this is just another way for me to have my brushes technically organized, right? But in a way that always also allows me to be able to see them readily. And if you are looking for Roycycled decoupage, you guys can check out roycycled.com. You'll find the papers there, and you'll also find the retailers who carry my paper. So there's a map for you to find it. If you click on the buy tab you'll see buy directly or buy from retailers. And when you click on buy from retailers, it'll take you to a map which shows where Roycycled retailers are located. You can put your location in there and it'll show you the nearest retailer to you. And if you don't have a local retailer, maybe you can reach out to someone who's only online or who sells online, but they may be closer than I am. I'm in Arizona. So if you have a retailer who's closer, who can offer you a better shipping rate, then you can find that information at roycycled.com as well. And if you guys are enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. The more you guys engage, then the further my content gets pushed out. It's super helpful. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And I know I have some of you who share my content consistently. I really, really appreciate you guys. I really do. Um, I think we're dry enough for me to be able to decoupage safely. And I have some chippiness there, which I kind of like. I should have painted the can like a rust color first, huh? That would have been fabulous. Maybe next time. You see, I done this. It wasn't exact. I mean, it's not what I wanted, but once I always say that the learning is in the doing. Like you can watch the videos and you can watch other people do it, but until your hands get busy doing the thing, your heart and your mind really don't see it. And so once you do something, you not only get better at doing the thing, but you also see other opportunities that maybe the person who taught you didn't even see themselves, which is the fun part for me. So this part is chipping really good, so I don't want to decoupage over that. So I'm going to decoupage on this side. So we have our piece that we made. Oh, look how cute that's going to be. And so I'm decoupaging on here, but I don't want to have, so if I put decoupage medium on here, and then I put my bunny, and then I'll have like a halo of medium, then everything else is going to look different. And I don't want to use the medium to seal this. So I'm actually going to put my medium on the back of my project. And I'm just going to use the matte medium because I have it here handy. I don't even know if I have a clean brush. Look, I have so many brushes, but how many of them are actually clean? That's a whole nother conversation altogether. So I do have some in my jar here though. In my soaking jar that I need to take in the house. I think I'm going to clean brushes today. We'll see what happens. I got to wash dishes first. Lord have mercy. That's a whole nother conversation. I was talking to some friends of mine. I guess there is a female entrepreneur, and she made the comment that imagine what she could have accomplished in her life if she had a wife. And I laughed so hard because as women, we take on so much. You guys have been in a marriage before. My friends and I would joke like, "You women burned your bra so we could go to work." And we go to work, but we still manage so many things in the household, right? And so many men have been able to um, do more because women, we kind of do this invisible labor, right? All the time. And when I say a wife, I mean in terms of someone who can manage my house for me. So I can just focus on my work and I have to think about all the other stuff. So I have a dream and I am like calling it into the universe right now to be able to have like a house manager someday, like somebody who can manage things so that I can literally focus on my business and be able to do more and get further in my business. A lot of times we think about hiring virtual assistants or some people who can help directly in our business, but imagine how much more we could get done if there was someone kind of managing the other things for us. It's a dream. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I'm just going right over the top, and I'm kind of being careful. I don't want to get medium on my can. And this can does have texture. So you guys saw me mist my paper for two reasons. A, to make it a little bit more malleable so that it goes into those recesses a little bit. And I'm going to go outside a little bit on this, but not much. I just don't want there to be like a halo around my paper. And so, to the person who asked a question about whether or not you could still, like, if it leaves a line, it will absolutely leave a line. I would not like misrepresent the product at all, but it is tissue paper, so it's super thin. So it's not like it leaves. If I were using like printer paper or a thicker paper, right? There would be a much heavier delineation here between the surface and the paper. But because it's tissue paper, there really isn't much of a line at all. There are steps that you can take, and I think I'll give you a link to a video where I made a sign, and so I can show you a process that you can use to get rid of the line if it really bothers you. And what I do is I will take like a heavy body gel, and I will float it out along the edges with like a rubber spatula. So let me see. I have these. This one will be too big, a rubber, but this one has the. I'll send you the video, and maybe we'll do it. We'll do it one day this week. That's what we'll do. Another day. So how cute is he? He is so cute. And can I see where he starts and finish? Absolutely, I can. And I could have left a little bit more paper and gone in, and kind of layered on. Where's my little brush? Let's take this little brush here since we have some paint. You can go in and kind of, go around your edges a little bit with the paint. If you want to blend your paper in a little bit more. And we're going to dry this, and we're going to do one more step before we go, because I feel like this bunny looks a little bright for me. I want this to look a little bit more aged. So we've already sealed our paper, but I want to dry it first. And then I'm going to show you guys how we're going to age this. I probably could have left a little bit more paper to leave myself the option to be able to blend a little bit more. So it's something for you guys to think about if you do want to blend by adding paint to the paper, to leave a little bit more paper. My son, my youngest, he used to make fun of me. He's like, why do you buy new stuff and then make it look old? Because I can't find the old stuff that I want. So I got to create my own vintage, right? And this reminds me of one of those old cans back in the day when they used to put ads on the products. Like you'd have a product and it would have like a holiday theme label on it. And this could be something for spring. I don't know. So I'm going to dry this super quickly, and then we're going to do our last step before we leave. And I'm going to ask you guys if you would please do me a huge favor, and let me see if I can find it. While this dries, if you guys can just take a look at this video. or maybe not. It's less than a minute.
If you've been craving time just for you, time to create, to breathe, to reconnect with who you are,
Oh wow, it's not playing.
if you've been craving time just for you, time to create, to breathe, to reconnect with who you are, I want to personally invite you to the 2026 Roycycled Besties Retreat. We're gathering in beautiful downtown Safford, Arizona for 3 days of creativity, connection, and rest. All your creative supplies are provided, breakfast and lunch are taken care of, and you'll even receive exclusive recycled retreat only goodies. We are already over halfway full, so if your heart's been whispering maybe, this is your moment to say yes. Click the link to claim your seat. I would love to meet you here.
And so that is all dry. How cute is this? It's actually cuter than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I knew it would be cute. I had something else in mind, is what happened. I thought I was going to have a soft green with like a beautiful bougie picture, and I ended up with something kind of fun and quirky instead. So my paint is chipping beautifully. I do wish I had done like a rusty paint underneath. I think that would have been prettier, and that's something for you guys to consider if you're going to do this project. But I am going to use some dark wax to seal this. Um, and so I'm going to start off. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about steps when you're using wax. And I do want to start off. I'm going to go over now. I've already sealed the top of this with a clear coat. I want to go over with some clear wax. And the reason why I want to do that is because I don't want it to go really dark really quickly. So I am going to seal. It's just going to give me more control. If I went right over this with the dark wax without putting the clear wax on first, then everything would just get really dark really quickly. And I do want it to, like, I don't know. That's not what I want. I don't want it to be like super dark. I just want to add some aging to my can. So I'm going to seal with that wax first. I love that the paint is chipping off in different places. Now, this is my wax brush, and I never wash it. It's just, I only use it for wax, is all. Now, yesterday, you guys saw me demonstrate. I used my heat gun to reactivate the dark wax in my brush. I was able to do that with this brush because it's a natural brush. I think it's a boar brush. This brush is synthetic, however. So never do that with your synthetic brush because you will melt it. Ask me how I know. So let's go in with some dark wax and um, give our project a little more. Oh my gosh, I am so over today. I'm going to try to do a more simple project tomorrow so we can stay in our time frame. Um, and you guys already know what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to go along my edges with the wax. And I do want to go over my bunny so that he doesn't look like so brand new, right? I want him to blend in a little bit with the can. So we're going to do that. And then after I get the wax on there, I'm going to go in with a lint-free cloth, and I'm just going to, and you see how I was able to wipe that dark wax back. If I had gone right over that paper with the dark wax, it would have absorbed it, and I would not have had that much control over the final result. And I can always add more, right? if too much comes off. But if the paint absorbs the dark wax, then you lose any control that you have. And that's true for sealers as well. So if you're ever gonna like glaze something, especially with the chocolate clay-based paint because they're so porous, put on a clear coat first before you glaze. That way you'll have more control over the final um, product or process. And that's it, you guys. Isn't he so cute? And you guys can see how the can is nice and chippy. If I would have painted it rusty, it would have looked like a really old, like branded can. And can you see the edges of the paper on there? Yes, you absolutely can see the edges. Or the question was, is there a line? So there absolutely is a line, but the tissue is so thin that the delineation really isn't that much. But I don't want to misrepresent the product and have you think that you can't see it at all, because you can. But I don't think it matters. So that is all for our project today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's quick craft with Royce. I will be live every day in the month of January, you guys, about noon, to do a quick project with you guys from start to finish. And if you guys have questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll go through the comments throughout the course of today and answer any questions. If you are looking for recycled decoupage paper, you can find it at roycycled.com. You can find the paper, and you can also find the retailers and the shops who carry it recycled. I think that's all I have for today, you guys. I want you guys to hear me when I say this, and I'm listening. I'm taking my own advice, but where experimentation goes, creativity follows. So make time, sit down, create something with your hands. If you guys want, this can be a co-working session every day, and you guys can sit down and craft with me and watch while I craft. That will be really fun. But I will see you guys tomorrow. You guys have a blessed day.